First of all, congratulations on the new record, Redemption. It sounds absolutely fantastic, and I'll get into we'll get into the details of why it sounds so fantastic in a minute. When's the next one coming out?
That's a good question. This one was 2 years in the making, so I'm gonna ride the wave for a while before I even wrap my brain around the next one. But it's a good question. Thank you.
You certainly didn't cut any corners with this record. I mean, the fact you got John Webster produce it. I mean, this is a guy that's played with or produced everyone from Aerosmith to AC/DC to Motley Crue. I mean, he's done a bit of everything, and not just metal bands. Tell me about that and how he got involved in this with you.
Well, listen, I'm so lucky that he accepted to work on my album, because it's luck's got a lot to do with it, because the guy's got to be able to do it, to have the time for it, and to put you in his schedule, to say yes. So I owe it to my manager. My manager, when we were talking about doing this album, he said, okay, we need the perfect producer. I said, and who would that be? And when he mentioned John Webster, I said, man, I would be the best. So he arranged a dinner in Montreal. We had dinner. We talked about music, and then he said yes. And let me tell you this: I've worked with some very cool name in the industry, but this guy is like, wow, he's incredible, irreplaceable. He's like a powerhouse of talent, of quality control, and everything is like, I mean, it's such an honor to have him produce my album.
His resume, just as a keyboard player alone, is amazing. So I mean, when a guy comes and wants to produce you or agrees to produce you, and he's got this incredible wealth of musical knowledge and experience, it's got to make things a whole lot easier for the artist to be able to rely and trust a guy like that.
Absolutely. It's like a gift, because I know what I'm good at. I'm good at singing, at playing the guitar, at putting on a good show, and being in studio always ready and with a strong voice for hours. I know that I'm good at that. But John, it's everything else. I mean, it's the recording of the drums, it's the recording of the rhythm section, and then putting everything. I mean, this guy is like, it's like a movie. If you watch a movie and it says directed by, then it's the version of the movie of this guy. If it said directed by another name, it would be a totally different movie. Yeah, who produces your album is very, very important.
The first single is the cover of the Real Me from The Who, which is not only great, but the thing that people are really talking about is who is backing you up. I mean, Brad Gillis, Rudy Sarzo, Tommy Aldrich. I mean, these guys hadn't played together in years. It had been since the 80s, since I think they played with Ozzy the last time around, but somehow you were able to get them back together and playing with you.
Yeah. And the question could be, how the hell are you so lucky? Yeah, again, luck has got a lot to do with it, because it all started with when we chose the song. I was talking to my manager. I says, let's pick a Zeppelin or a Who song. And he said, why? I said, because if you listen to Zeppelin and the Who, it's never overproduced. If you want to listen to John Bonham, you just listen to John Bonham. If everything is in its place. So we went with the real me, and we already had Brad Gillis in the team, because he offered me some songs that I accepted because I liked them so much. So when it was time to choose the musician, he's the first one we asked. We said, Brad, would you you play on 2 songs? You have 2 songs co-producing with John on the album. Would you do this cover with us? And he says, yeah, I would love to do it. And do you have ideas of who we could pick, to be with you on this? And he came up with the idea of giving Rudy a shout, and Tommy. And again, pure luck, my friend, because anything could have happened that they would have said no, but no, it went all naturally. And when they said yes, my manager told me, like you, I'm a big fan of well, not like you, but I guess you are. Speak of the Devil album. Man, when that album came out, everybody was going, what's going to happen to Ozzy? You know, he lost Randy Rhoads, and then this album came out with Brad Gillis and Rudy and Tommy. And I remember I was almost a kid. I was like 16 or 17 years old. And I mean, man, those guys are good.
They're unbelievable.
So, yeah. And fast forward to 2024, when I was doing the video in Burbank with them, I used to go see them. You know, we have a 10-year gap difference. So when I was 15, there were 25. They were doing the Montreal Forum. Tommy was doing Whitesnake, and all bands that I was greatly influenced by. Ozzy, Whitesnake, Dio, Night Ranger, Quiet Riot, all those bands were like, I mean, when I was doing the video, I was pinching myself, literally. And you know, in between takes, they would talk among themselves, and sometimes they would include me in the conversation. I was going, yeah, man, don't be that guy. Don't ask stupid questions. Please, Rick, don't do it. And I didn't do it.
I mean, I would just imagine, just on a scheduling perspective, just getting guys to sit around for a video is a whole lot more time consuming sometimes than, you know, doing a 3 or 4 minute Who song that you all grew up listening to. I mean, just to get you guys to do a video had to be a real challenge. Exactly, because the core of the album was recorded like a real rock and roll band. You know, it was all done live at Little Mountain Studio with John Webster, with Randolph Stoll on drum, Tony Marriott on bass, and Sean Kelly on guitar. They did the blueprint of the album. All the rest is like Rudy did his professional musician. All have home studios now. So sometimes, not all the times, it's better that they record on their own time. So right.
They wake up one day, they say, okay, now I feel it. I'm going to do the real me. So Rudy did that. Tommy did that. But we really worked together and met when we did the video. So for somebody to say yeah to play on your record is something. But to say yeah to do a video, that's even bigger, like you just mentioned, because it's a day work. And for me as an artist, it's bigger because now when the song plays, I don't have to go, do you hear the drum? Do you hear that? Can you hear that? Yeah. You know who that is? I don't know, but I sure sound, yeah, that's Tommy. I don't have to do that. Now everybody knows that they played on the record.
You know, I am perennially amazed by Tommy Aldrich. I mean, the man is completely ageless. He's a 75-year-old man playing like a man who's a third his age. I mean, all these guys are great, but like to me, Aldrich is an absolute freak of nature. That guy.
This guy is as a freak of nature. He's a natural. This guy. Let me tell you a story. When he got to the Castle Studio in Burbank, where we shot the video, we shot at Castle Studio. It's 3D. State-of-the-art technology. They shot some Star Wars scenes, and it's the place to go for 3D. Tommy arrived first, and his drum tech was sick. So, in my book, he's the best rock drummer in the world.
Sure,
it's John Bonham and Tommy Aldrich. You know, they're two best. So he arrives first, and we're all big fans. You know, so we all became Tommy Aldridge drum tech. The guy from Yamaha arrived with his van, you know, and we told him, we says, Tommy, he was just supposed to deliver the drum, leave, and come back at the end of the day and bring it back. No, the guy stayed there, and he helped Tommy throughout all the session. But my point is this, is that he was the first one there. He set up his drum, and he talked to us, and he was, go back to behind his drum. So the other guy arrives, and we start shooting, and I go, okay, action. The song starts. The guy was playing drums like there was 1,000 people and 10,000 people in front of him. This guy doesn't pretend to play. He plays.
He plays.
So, oh yeah. Cut. Okay. No. We talk. Okay. Action. Pow. This guy, he's a natural.
He's unbelievable. Of course,
like you said, he's ageless.
Yeah.
Because he's a natural. He's a natural. That's what he loves to do. That's what he's like I said, he's the best in the world.
You've talked about all the levels of luck that you've had on this record. I mean, not just, you know, having those guys play with you and Brad Gillis writing a couple of really strong songs on the record "Shake My Soul and Carry the Torch." But you also got Robbie Kriger from The Doors to help you on one of these tracks, and you'll have to forgive me for my shitty French pronunciation. Dance to Poo? Or
Dans la peau.
Don Le. Okay, close. I was so close, Rick. So damn close.
Yeah, I had to put a couple of French songs because as you can hear the accent on my voice, I'm from Quebec. Rick Hughes is my real name. It's not a stage name. My father was from Irish descent. But here we talk French every day amongst us, you know. So when I do interview, I have to dust off my English. So I had to put a couple. This album was so important to me, and my French fans from here, Quebec, always had my back for the last 40 years. So because this album was so important, I didn't want to leave him out. So that's why there's a couple of French songs. So this song is bilingual. Dans la peau means in the skin, inside your skin, you know. You got me, it's in my blood, you know? That's what it means, dans la peau. So I'm doing a duet with Amy Keys, world famous, renowned singer. She's one of the best. I mean, I keep saying that, but it's true.
It's true. Yeah.
Amy she sang with Elton John, with Johnny Hallyday, for Quincy Jones. I mean, she did it all. You can hear in her voice. She's like, man, she's a Tina Turner. She's so good. So when it was time to record her, they said to me, okay, you're in Vancouver. She's in LA. She wants to do it, but she's in LA. So we're going to have to record her in LA. I said, no problem. And then they said, well, there's a studio in LA. It's Robbie Kriger's studio. He's got all the doors. And I said, wait. I said, what? You had me at Robbie Kriger. I'm a big fan of the Doors, man. When I was 15 years old, I came of age with the Doors.
Sure.
I mean, I was a stranger in a strange land. Everywhere I would go, I was a real rocker when I was a kid. I lost my dad real young. My dad was young when he died. And so by the age of 10, I was already on my own, you know, doing what I wanted. So at 15, I felt strange. And then I started to listen to the Doors and I became a Jim Morrison fan, and I could understand what he's saying and even read between the lines, and the Robbie Kriger, and all these intricate playing. And I was such a fan. So that's why I said, wait, you had me at Robbie Kriger. So we went to his studio. We recorded Amy there, her vocal part. And I said to my manager, I said, while we're there, why don't we ask Rob?
What are the chances that Robbie might just be hanging around that day?
Imagine that. That's pure. It's pure luck. I mean, I guess I got good karma because, I mean, I know me. I'm good at heart. I love people. I love to help people out, you know, for anything, music or personal stuff. So I guess I got good karma because this is bigger than big.
You not
Robbie
only,
Kriger to me is bigger than big.
Yeah, I mean, you not only got all these great names helping you, but they all put together great performances. I mean, Robbie's guitar in that song is really beautiful. I mean, he did a great job for you.
Yeah, and it's so recognizable. I mean, down, and you hear the SG, you hear the picking, everything that he does. This guy is like Michel-Ange. He's such a talented guitar player.
I want to ask you a little bit about some of your past here. Especially want to ask you a little bit about Sword. Back in 2022, you guys released your first album in like 34 years with the expectation that there might be more to come. Where do things stand with Sword right now? Is that still in place, or is that something that's kind of been put aside for now?
Sword is my first love, and my brother plays drum. The other two members of Sword are friends from my teen. I started to play. We formed Sword when we were 15 years old. We recorded our first album in '86, and by '87 we were touring with Motorhead, Metallica, Alice Cooper. I mean, '89 second album. We did plenty of stuff, and then by the '90s, I wanted to do something a little more mainstream. As you can see on my album, I like to do different stuff. Even on my album, if you listen to Dead End Road, which is a very pop rock kind of song, And if you listen to, let's say Will of the Gun, it's almost like a U2 Daniel Lavoie kind of vibe, you know. So I love music, so I don't stay in one genre. So I recorded with Saints and Sinners, co-wrote a couple of songs with Aldo Nova, Bon Jovi, Rachel Bolan. So this album came out, and then grunge arrived. So I kind of took my marbles and I decided to work here in Quebec for a couple of years as a hired gun for plenty of stuff. I raised my kids, and then the phone rang, and it was the guys for Sword. They say, let's do some shows. So we started to do shows back in 2008, and 2008. We went to Germany. We did Montreal, Heavy Montreal. We did shows with Black Label Society, with Anthrax. So we decided to record an album in 2022. And last week, I was doing a show in Montreal with Sword at a club in Montreal. So and it went really well.
So I mean, it's still a pretty significant gap between, you know, that the second album and the third album. It's nice to know that you were still doing other things and still staying busy. What was it that said, okay, let's try to do this again. Let's play again and see how things go. Was there a specific thing that happened, or was it just, let's just get it all back together?
Yeah, it's our love of the fans. You know, the Sword fans are so loyal. They're so great. We're doing shows here and there. Like when we went to Germany, the first time we went to Germany was 2008. It was a big festival. There was plenty of band, and we sold the most merchandise of all the bands. So we said, wow. And when it was time to autograph our merch, there was a line that would go around the building. There were so many people that were from Italy, Greece, Japan. I mean, they had their Sword record, and we would sign that, and we'd talk to them and said, never thought we'd see you live. I mean, big fans. So when we started to do show again, it's the fans that they were so into us and asking for another album that it came naturally. At one point we said, okay, now maybe we should record a Sword 3. Yeah, we're there. Let's do it. So we took a couple of years to do it. We started in 220 and it was ready to go in 222.
So, you know, it's so interesting because your first album came out in 1986, and you guys, like you said, you're touring with everybody, you know, Alice Cooper, Motorhead, Metallica for a while. 1986 through 1989 were such big years for not just metal, but like the record industry itself. These were big business years. These were times when, if you're going to establish a fan base, that was definitely the right time to do it. I know how, you know, some of the things that I saw just in radio at the time were pretty damn crazy, but tell me about your experience in those years. I mean, especially as a young band trying to make your mark with, you know, so many other, you know, bands all kind of vying for the same piece of pie. Tell me a little bit about that period.
Well, we were hungry. We wanted to conquer the world, and we didn't know that we were like that, because our idols were Zeppelin, were Motorhead, Iron Maiden, and Ozzy, and you know, I would watch Ozzy doing interview. He was a regular Joe. He was just like me. The way he would talk, he would express himself. He was a guy he inspired me. So I just wanted to be like my heroes. And it's true that back then it was very different from today. But then again, you know, things change all the time. So I'm not the kind of guy I was asked a question the other day, why an album? You know, you don't sell albums anymore. Why a video? You know, there's no more place MTV and stuff and like that. And doing video doesn't come cheap. Doing an album with all the names we just named doesn't come cheap either. And the answer, at least my answer, is it's not always about the money. It's about art. You know, that's what I do. That's what I love to do. I love to write songs, to sing, to be a performer other people write songs and they present it to me, and I go, wow, this song I could really, really nail it. I'm sure. I mean, we all have our reason to get up in the morning and be happy. Mine is music.
Yeah, knowing how brothers can be, at any point did you say to your brother, Tommy Aldrich is now my new drummer? Did you ever kind of throw that in his face just for a laugh or two?
Yeah. Well, one thing's for sure is that Dan, my brother, is a big fan of Tommy Aldrich, so he was really, really proud of me. Yeah, being my brother, it's not even a question of not hiring him because we've done everything together. So it's like him. If he wants to play with somebody else, he doesn't have to ask me the permission. I'll be more than that. He did it. He played with a lot of people other than me, and I was always happy for him.
You did mention Saints and Sinners from 1992, and I was just listening to the record for the first time in a long, long time since the last time I listened to it. It was a really strong record, and in 1992, I realized that music was starting to change a little bit. The industry was certainly changing around you. But what happened to that band? I mean, it was only one album, and that was done. But that was a really great record back then.
Well, the timing wasn't right. We released the album, and like a couple of months after, grunge music spread like wildfire, and this is my take on it. Some I heard interviews of people saying no, hair metal and pop metal died from old age. No, it didn't. Back then, the grunge music. Listen, literally, I was touring with Saints and Sinners. We started in New York, and we went all the way to LA, and LA back, and all the shows were booked too.
Mm-hmm.
So when we left, grunge had started, and I was doing some interviews, and people would ask me, "What do you think about the new music genre?" I says, "What new grunge? What is that?" And it's from Seattle and all this and that. Oh, cool! More, the more the merrier. And then as we got along, they were starting to say, "Oh, and by the way, it's going to get hard to get the airplay because now it's grunge." I said, well, why don't they play both? Because we're going to change format. Oh yeah, well, wow, that'll be the day. We get to California, we do our stuff, and when we came back, it was true. We were getting canceled. Radio station were canceling our interviews. Not all of them, but some of them. So I would go, oh, something is really brewing. When I got back to Montreal, it was like 93 for that year that we toured. It was done. Yeah. Forget about it, man. There was no way for us to tour again. So that's why we kind of okay, let's wait.
It was always funny to me because I started in radio like in the the mid 80s, so I kind of saw that all happen. But the funny part about it is the fans that loved individual bands continued to love those bands. And what seemed to me what happened back then, it wasn't that the fans rejected metal or the hair metal or whatever, glam or whatever it was, but like the record industry seemed to turn their back on those bands simply because there was another shiny thing in the room, and that's what they wanted to focus on, and that's what ultimately forced radio to change, because those bands that they had been promoting from Guns N' Roses to 1989 or 1990, those bands were all of a sudden forgotten about. I remember your record reps going into the radio station 6 months earlier. They're all wearing their spandex and get their hair all flared out, and then 6 months later they're all wearing flannel and knit caps and smoking clove cigarettes. It was like, these are the same damn people, but just they changed their tune just because the flavor of the day had somehow flipped.
Yeah, true. And stuff happens, and now that time has passed, and I look at it as a mature man, I don't see anything wrong with it. It's evolution. Things change, and you have to roll with the punches. I remember when it started, and I had to stop everything and just work here in Montreal as a hired gun for TV shows and doing ad on, with my voice. And I remember that we were talking about that, and I saw an interview with Dee Snider. I mean, Twisted Sister, man, they were bigger than big, and he was explaining that when that happened, he was working in a parking space for one of his cousins, putting flyers on windshields. Dee Snider.
Yeah.
So yeah. And I remember he was saying that in an interview. He said, and sometimes guy would chase me. They go, "Don't touch my car!" And they didn't know they were screaming at Dee Snider. And I thought to myself, okay, this interview, because I love Dee Snider, kind of helped me make peace with that whole situation. Because then, we tend to, even in those moments, to take things personally and go, why did this happen to me? No, it didn't happen to you. It happened to everybody.
But it's interesting, though, because, even in spite of all that, here you are, 40 plus years later, still doing it because you love it, not worrying about making billions of dollars. You're doing it because the art satisfies you. And that's really cool that you have found something that you can continue to do and then come up with this new record, which just sounds so freaking great. You should be really proud of not only the longevity, but what all of this has led to. Really pretty remarkable.
Thank you so much. I really, really take those words to heart.
Well, I mean it, because I know how hard it is to make music, and how hard it is to have good luck in music sometimes, or in any level of art. And I applaud you for doing it.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Rick, it's a real pleasure. I wish you best of luck with the record. I hope, I can't wait for the next Sword record to come out. Looking forward to that too.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure doing this interview with you today.
Appreciate it, Rick. Have a good night.
Likewise.